routes, 5 were long, being close to that 35 days. That was the last 5 routes. So as the month goes and you start slipping, a lot of times those last 5 routes or 4 routes start getting long if we have a holiday in there. So we are trying to work on it better.
Yeah.
We are manually reading them because we had a lightning strike on the tower on the west side of town, and we're waiting on an antenna to get here to start collecting again. I think Sam has an insurance claim started on that. It's between $30,000 and $50,000 worth of damage is what we took on it. There was a lightning arrestor on the cable that comes down the tank, and it did blow like it should have, so we're more than confident it was a lightning strike. And when they climbed the tower, there was damage to the antenna. So we are reading them until we get that antenna replaced, which should be around the second week of July is when it's supposed to be here. Kind of like Parks and Recs, we're still having problems getting stuff. Transformers are better, but just stuff is hard to get. So that's where we're at. Did that answer?
Yeah, and I think some of it is perspective. Like I going through there, I can understand that, but when we already know, rates went up, so people are going to complain about rates going up.
Yeah.
Animals continues to get in our facilities and cause issues, so people take note. And so then when bills are up, I mean, there's a lot of complaints, and it's like we have information to explain why, but over time it just starts to eat away at public perception.
And we have got some calls on the outages, so if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and address that now if everybody's fine with that. On 3-5, we had 50-mile-an-hour plus winds and snow, so there was multiple outages all over town on 3-5. On 4-20, we had heavy storms. 69 breaker 82 opened at the power plant, which would have dropped off Route O substation. So out of 4 substations, we lost 1 during that outage. 4:25, we was switching back to Columbia off of Central. A breaker malfunctioned, so the whole town was in the dark for a few minutes that day. 5:22, raccoon in the power plant substation. That got breaker 32, which got Clevewood in the downtown circuit. And then on 6-5, there was a phase-to-ground fault between here and Columbia. There was multiple issues with that outage. Columbia said it was 27 miles from Columbia. Our folks drove every pole, stopped at every pole between here and I-70. 27 miles, should have put it here in Fulton. We did not find the cause of that. But also with the new breaker at Columbia, the breaker setting was a little bit tight, so that breaker operated in like a third of a cycle instead of 8 cycles, and that's been fixed. So other than, I'm not saying it's all the outages, but that is any outage that would have locked out a breaker or a substation. That's what we had on 3-5, 4:20, and the raccoon and the one last week, just to give everybody an update on why and when. Some subdivisions took multiple, well, like out on the northeast part of town, the raccoon would have got that one. 4:25 would have got that one, in 3-5 and 6-5. So the northeast part of town has experienced the most outages just because of their location, not anything to do with the condition of the system in that area. Does that help? Mm-hmm.
We talked about lower bills, larger bills, things like that for our utilities. Are there programs that the city offers to help mitigate that variance in bills?
Well, we did offer levelized billing, but if you'll also remember when we redid the rates on residential, everything's in one tier now. So even though you might have had more days in one month versus the other, it didn't kick you out of a lower tier since all the tiers are priced the same now. So I think that, well, don't make it right. There's no money difference, if that makes any sense, when you go through a couple months. You want to add to that?
No, I I appreciate you talking about level billing, and I know Councilman Combs, we talked quite extensively about that. You know, levelized billing is a very beneficial budgeting tool where you can average out your annual usage, and every single month your bill is going to be the same. So regardless of the number of bills or days on that bill or your consumption, you're going to see that same flat rate. So I would highly encourage everyone, you know, if you're wanting that consistency, please take a look into levelized billing. Certainly call the finance department. They would be happy to run an estimate for you. You do have to be in your residence for at least a year in order for them to have the data to properly do that. We also, of course, still partner with CMCA, serve for any assistance for anyone that needs energy assistance. But of course, we're happy to answer any questions, and I appreciate you giving a little clarity into those outages and how our billing process works.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Darrell. Okay, we'll move on to Councilwoman Hanson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't necessarily have any concerns, but I do have a couple of things just to announce. The Callaway County Housing Task Force is meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and that's at the community center here in town. And to get some people at the table would be very helpful. So anyone who is interested in coming and working on the Callaway Housing Task Force, we would welcome you. And then just a kind of a personal plug, but our 10th annual I Can Bike Camp is happening next week, and we need lots of volunteers. It's going to be at the YMCA Monday through Friday, and come and stay all day. It's lots of fun.
And I'd like to support that too. It's an amazing program, and Nancy has done an outstanding job in it over the years.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Henchy.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Public Safety Commission is